the first ride today. First time for a lot of things. First time on a mullet setup. First time riding the Archer Components wireless shifter thing. And my first ride back in the East Bay since I got back from Mexico. Yeah, a lot of things to suss out, and let's get into it. Gonna take this one real mellow. Brakes are hardly bedded in. Okay. It's quiet. That I can tell. It's not making a sound. Damn, that's crazy. That's got to be one of the quietest bikes I've ever ridden. This is all legal, by the way. Kind of some big news coming out of the East Bay. A lot different than the Geometron, that's for sure. This is the S3. So 475 reach. Whoa, that was sick. Whew. That's changed since I've ridden it last. That's what I was afraid of happening. The way this chainstay is, there's not a lot of contact. So let's hope that isn't a consistent problem. Oh, wow. God damn, this bike's gonna be sick. First impressions, really freaking good. Holy shit. I've been riding a Geometron that has like a 515 mil reach. It's really stable, the bike's balanced and fast, but you just can't be super dynamic on it. And just on my first lap there, I was able to do things on a bike that I haven't been able to do for a really long time. Just like pick up manuals and little hop lines. That was so much fun. I honestly can't believe how good that went. And I can't believe how freaking quiet this bike is. It didn't make a sound. Okay. I was having problems with this on the way up too. You tune the Archer thing for each gear, and it's just a tad bit out of adjustment in my easiest gear, and I should just be able to hop off, whip out the app and adjust it, but nothing's coming up on my device list. I've reinstalled the app, everything's charged, and that means I can't use my easiest gear, which is a bummer because I'm running freaking 11 speed. So that means I'm extra screwed, and this hill's steep as shit. Back in the day, I used to ride this with a Shimano 11 speed setup as well, but I had a 3640 and I rode here all winter and just got really strong. So just need to summon some of that energy. All right, second lap up here. I brought my backpack with a shock pump, a bunch of tools in case I wanted to change stuff. And I honestly don't want to change anything right now. Which is a big surprise, especially for me, because I like to tinker. And on a new bike, first run, there's nothing sticking out that is really bothering me. So let's go for another lap. Oh. Okay. Bottomed out there. Okay, that lap was interesting. I think the fork's a little soft now that I pushed it a little harder, and it's just a bit of a different steering characteristic, given that it's still slack, but it's a lot steeper than what I've been coming out off of. The steering's just a little sharper, kind of like figuring that out. This shock's really impressive. I've been wanting to try out the new generation Super Deluxe, wherever it's called. It's been a while since I've been on new rock shocks, and I really dig it. Overall, the whole rear suspension package on this bike is so much better than the old Druid. The old Druid had a ton of support, but it really wasn't that supple off the top, and it was kind of hard to feel what the rear end was doing. It was just, but it was holding you up. This bike, I feel like there's still that support, maybe not as much, but there's so much more feel and traction. I'm actually having a bit of trouble like breaking the rear end loose, but I think that's just more of a balance thing. This Archer thing, I'm like, I really want to like it because the setup was actually incredibly easy. The shifting performance was surprisingly good and quick. Yeah, this adjustment issue and it bouncing around back there, I think there are things I can find solutions for, but right now they're definitely impacting the ride experience as I'm having to zigzag up this hill in the tall gear. I had like one harsh bottom out. No way, dude. Are you kidding me? Look at that. The bottom, oh my gosh. I was about to say nothing's came loose, which would have been a miracle if you watch the build video, but look at that. Maybe it's somewhere on the trail. Oh my God. Well, I was about to say, gonna put some more air in the ramp up chamber because I had one harsh bottom out where I needed a bit more support, but also having a bit more air in the fork should also help with kind of the turning knifiness that I was talking about. Some air comes out when you plug it in, but I was at like 150 in the ramp up and I should be at like 220. Main chamber is at 100, which is about right for me. I was able to tighten that up a little bit, so we'll see if that helps. Hesitated. Kind of feel like this rear wheels might be a little loose. Didn't bottom out there that time. I think my fitness level right now gives me like 45 seconds worth of intensity, and then I'm having to back it down. God. Easily excitable. Holy shit, it's fun. Now the rear feels a little soft. Just checked the bottom out bumper and it was all the way down. And just like, as I'm putting more energy into the bike and getting more comfortable, like last run I felt the fork kind of fall flat, and this run I felt the rear do the kind of the same. So I'm gonna stiffen up the rear, maybe to do a click faster on rebound. Just felt a little dead, but we'll see. So far, I feel like it climbs really good. I like the seated climbing position. I think it's got a pretty steep seat angle, but I don't know, I like where my weight's at and feels really efficient. I think I may have found out why my rear wheel was feeling loose. Put a massive dent in it. Shit. I mean, I was running 28 psi. Yeah, it felt like I would like load up into the corner, and when I would expect it to like slide and bounce out, it kind of just hooked up, which made like the front end push. So I think that's part of the problem. I don't have a spoke wrench, but I've got mini Knipex, so that should do the trick. I was running like 33% sag. So I had 198 psi in there. Let's go to like 210. I feel like we've just stiffened up the front and rear similar amounts. And hopefully now it should be fairly balanced. My wheel should be stiff. I'm gonna check out this different line. Drop. Yeah, I think I like this left line way better. It was pretty much just straight shot down the hill. I was hiking to get a few clips. Found it. This thing is really composed under braking. That's what I just noticed there. Oh. Definitely manuals like a high pivot. As you get further into it, you almost need to lean back harder and harder. Oh, yo, pretty predictable. Gravel flat corners are a great way to kind of like feel out that balance point in the bike where you can get the rear end to break loose, give it traction, which is kind of why I wanted to break in this bike on flatter trails, but the conditions here were like too good not to. Yeah, Yeah, when you can trust the front on pea gravelly, no traction, stuff like this, it's a good sign. I'm no cutty master like Bryn Atkinson, but having a balanced bike definitely helps. All right, so final thoughts on the first ride on the Druid V2. This has got to be one of the best first ride experiences I've had on a bike. Like, the level of comfort I was able to find instantly, and just like figure out a few balance details, and only had a few small hiccups. I mean, it checks a lot of boxes for me. It feels like more than a 130 bike for sure. Not as much of a brawler as the last Forbidden Druid. There's, I think, way more feel in the suspension. I feel like I can play with it a lot more. I think that has a lot to do with it being mullet, but generally the suspension's way more responsive, while retaining a lot of that same like support and confidence. Like, it feels excellent on flat pedals. Like, I can't believe it's a 130 bike and I'm riding it on flats and feel like that composed. Yeah, I felt like I could be dynamic on the bike and take fun lines, push. There's still a little bit of balance stuff I need to figure out, but generally it encourages me to be in like a really good body position, and I think the balance is spot on. So yeah, the only things that went wrong is blowing off that little doohickey, so we'll figure that out, and then just need to figure out some stuff with this Archer component stuff. For now, I'll just chalk it up to user error. I did tighten it down, and it stayed on for the rest of the ride, so that's on me, and there's a good chance I just didn't read the instructions. Other than that, the Archer stuff actually worked really good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to ride this bike. I think the next ride I'll do is at a place with flatter trails, so I can kind of dial in that balance point on the bike and kind of get a better feel for how this thing handles. I feel like you really got to take a bike to somewhere with like flatter, mellower trails to like really get to know it, just because it's hard to focus on the bike and the balance when you have a trail that's a little bit more technical, a little steeper. Excited to bring a lot more content with this rig here, and I'm freaking stoked. So I'll see you guys in the next video.